Hello and welcome back. We're going to take a look at another one of these simple concepts from A Course in Miracles that we choose not to believe. That's right, I said that. Yes, we run away from simplicity in our lives here in the world when, at the same time, it's exactly what we need and what we deep down crave. And we're running away from it. So we'll look some more at that here over the next few minutes. The idea is that truth is true. The end, right? It sounds obvious enough, and it is. Truth is true. What we're doing here in the world is we identify with an ego, with being an individual, self-sustaining survival unit, competing for what we deem to be limited and oh so scarce resources, which we better get right now, or our brother will get them first. He's out to get us, don't you know? When we run around amok thinking that way, we don't see that truth is true. It simply is, and we do not allow it to simply be just as it is. This is why it is such a powerful prayer here on what we call the spiritual path, to ask your inner teacher for help in allowing truth to be just as it is. Which it simply is, despite all of our mad wanderings. So we can deny truth as much as we want to. It's still true. The truth of who you are is still true, even if you believe, or in this case, continue to believe that you're something else. The truth is still true. And let's all be glad of this, because here in the language of the spiritual path and awakening and enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it, means we have a home to go back to. It means we're not, in fact, lost, wandering, dazed and confused, starving in the wilderness. And we may choose to think that we are, but in truth, we're not. This is a dream from which we're awakening, hence the word awakening. We've moved on to a new section of the text here in A Course in Miracles. Chapter 7, section 10 is where we now find ourselves. It's the confusion of pain and joy. So when we identify with the ego, we're naturally confused. We run that line of thinking to its perfectly logical but insane conclusion, and we're utterly perplexed, confused. We don't know what's what. And we sometimes here find ourselves hitting rock bottom, suffering so much that we give in, or so we think, to something that we've always known, who we really are. We formulate the wish to have the peace of God and nothing else, whether we do it consciously or whether it's just a quick intuitive hit or something that we just find ourselves doing. I mean, how people enter the spiritual path actually looks differently for everybody. That's the outward form. Maybe you read a book or listened to a podcast or watched a YouTube video and became inspired to practice. Maybe you heard somebody talking about this thing called A Course in Miracles, and you like the title, thinking, oh, I could use some miracles in my life. Yeah, we all can. And maybe that's why you're here. Or maybe you were just scrolling YouTube and you happened to find this. I don't know. We all appear to arrive from different places. That is simply the outward form. The content of these teachings is one and the same. Truth is true. God is. Ideas leave not their source. In other words, thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker, God being the thinker, and you the thought of God, which, by the way, we're all referred to in A Course in Miracles. Ideas leave not their source. Feel free to capitalize the S. Where are you? Who are you? What are you in truth? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Truth is true, and it is true despite all of our ego clinging. It's just a mistake. It's just a dream. It's not who we really are. And we're all on what we call the path to waking up from the dream. How quickly do you want to wake up? Well, that is a decision that you get to make. You have the power and control over this. You could choose to speed this awakening, or you could choose to delay it as long as you like. Your choice. This is a choice that each of us has in the present moment. Does it sound too simple? Well, it is simple, but it's not too simple. The reality is so simple that it's what we actually crave. When we're hearing this call of our inner teacher, which goes out to all of us all of the time, 24/7, 365, all of the time, what it appears here in the world is that only some of us are listening. But you're listening. And for that, I thank you. We all thank you. That's what the world needs, is more people to listen to the call of our inner teacher. Yes, just that. When we do, we allow our inner teacher to speak to us, and we become more loving. We become more forgiving, joyful, patient, more chill, whatever you want to call it. That's what we become. So here in A Course in Miracles, we're heavily involved in a course in mind training. What else? People often dismiss things in the world, including spirituality, as mind control. Of course, it's mind control. This is a course in mind training. What you believe about your own mind determines what you accept into it. Do you believe illusions that it's separate and cut off from other individual, self-sustaining survival unit minds? And then you accept that idea in, and boom, it becomes reality for you. Yet, even in this confusion, even in this wandering, you have responded to the call of your inner teacher. You have, or you wouldn't be here. You've responded somehow, whether it was something that you just couldn't really articulate, which is often the case for us. There's just something about something that this image on your screen is saying, or something that someone else may have said, or you read somewhere, or you heard somewhere that just pulls you in. And then you find yourself opening up this big blue book called A Course in Miracles, and maybe not even really aware of why you're doing it, but there's something, some deep inner knowing. It could come in the form of an intuitive hit or anything like that. You just know. And here you find yourself. So this is an invitation to keep going. Oh, yeah. Yeah, keep going, because the world, ego clinging and confusion, is going to dish out one series of nasty events after another. And they don't have to be catastrophically nasty either. It can just be that you're going to get annoyed in 15 minutes by something that somebody says or by a thought that occurs to you. And you're going to lash out at the object of that thought, whether it's a person or the weather or a circumstance or whatever it is, and judge. That is an opportunity for forgiveness. So, with this mind training, we teach ourselves to become aware. And yes, I said teach ourselves. This is a self-study course. We do it under the guidance of our inner teacher, who is not separate from us. The Holy Spirit is not separate from you. Let there be no mystery and no doubt about that at all. The Holy Spirit is not separate from you. That is why throughout this series of videos, we refer to our inner teacher, inner teacher. The Holy Spirit is part of our mind. We do this mind training under his guidance, under its guidance, if you prefer. It's not a human being. It's part of our mind. What do we train our mind to do? Well, for starters, recognize when we're carried away with ego clinging and judgment and blame and victimhood, however that appears in your life. We become aware of these opportunities for forgiveness and we forgive. It sounds like a meditation practice, doesn't it, writ large? On the grand scale of life, it is that. This is why meditation is a thing in world spirituality. It's about present moment awareness. Here in the present moment, we have a choice, just one choice, not 8 billion choices. Thank God. One choice. There are exactly 2 options, and we're invited to choose accordingly. One choice is life. The other is death. You could see it that way. One is love, one is fear. One is self with a capital S. The other is self with a lowercase s. In other words, ego, egoville. We're invited to choose God or the ego, the Holy Spirit or the ego, light or dark, truth or illusion. That's the choice that we make in the present moment. And how do we become aware of it while we work on it? That is why spirituality appears to be a path. I mean, wouldn't it be great and convenient and beautiful if we all had a blinding flash of awakening right now? And if you do, will you please let me know so I can interview you for this channel? I'm serious. I would love to do that. And the reality for almost all of us is that we've got a process, what looks like a process. And in truth, we're really not going anywhere. Truth is, God is. Our reality simply is. We're at home in God. Just as he created us, one with the extension of love is love. And that is true and is true now, has always been true and always will be true. There is no past or future. There's only eternity. God is. Truth is true. Despite all of our mad wanderings in the supposed wilderness, despite all of our denial of this fact, we have free will to run and hide. And you can do that. You can think that the image on your screen here that you see that looks like a middle-aged man in this place called Arizona in North America, which is just an idea, isn't it? You could think that everything that this course says is completely ridiculous and not worth your time or space or oxygen, a complete waste of time, and you could run and hide. You could. We could all choose. to do this. It's our choice, and we're invited to choose instead what we really, really deep down want, the peace of God and nothing else. When you wish to see delusion and chaos, what then does your experience show you? Chaos. What happens when you wish to see the peace of God, to be the peace of God, to experience the peace of God and nothing else? What then do you see? Same. The peace of God. We're invited to want this and only this. Share God's will. Forgive. Extend love to the Son of God and accept that God's will is yours. You are the will of God. Your will and God's will are exactly the same. There is only perfect oneness. So share it with your brother in order to keep it in your mind. Your experience will show you that these ideas are true. Want proof? Prove it to yourself. That's how we do it. I certainly won't prove anything to you through turning on a camera and microphone and broadcasting on YouTube. That's not how it works. This video and all of these videos, indeed, are designed to inspire you to practice, to perhaps answer some questions that may come up for you on the path, and to remind you of who you are. And you do know who you are. You do. We all do. And we're responding to that call. So my hope is that you continue to respond to that call today and every day. Yeah. All right. So thank you as always for joining me. It's a lot of fun for me to turn on this camera and microphone and share with you. Along the way, it may be that you have questions or comments that you'd like to leave. And if that's the case, you're more than welcome to do so. I invite questions and comments. Remember, if you're just starting out, this video series is for both beginning and advanced students. It's also for people that aren't studying A Course in Miracles and may just be checking this out. Why? You may not be consciously aware, but perhaps I've said something in the last 15, 20 minutes here that has generated a spark of curiosity in you. Follow that. It's your inner teacher talking to you. It's the call. We do well to listen to it. Now, the subscription button is here in the corner of the screen here. That's that red arrow. Go ahead and click on that and join us. We'd love to have you. And as always, thank you for joining me. And thank you for your dedication and commitment to practice. So just in wrapping up, I'm very serious about questions and comments. If you've got them, please feel welcome to leave them. It's part of my purpose here is to serve as a guide for you, as an inspiration to practice. When you hear your inner teacher speaking to you, do what your inner teacher suggests that you do. I invite you to do just that. All right. Thank you. I will see you soon.